God, we gon' be alright. You know, I'm something of a minifigure myself. Hey, it's Bacho, the internet's least cringiest YouTuber, back at you again with an awesome review. This time we're reviewing Piece by Piece by, well, it's not by Pharrell Williams, but it's about Pharrell Williams. It's a documentary about famous musician Pharrell Williams' life. And the big twist with this documentary is it's all Lego-ified. Everything you see is like, it's Lego, it's animation, but it's like Lego style. It's not stop motion, but it's made in the same vein as the Lego movies from like 2014 and onwards. This will be the first documentary that I will have reviewed on this channel, so I'm a little out of my depth, a little inexperienced. I don't watch all too many documentaries, if I'm being honest. I'm more about fiction. I'm more about stupid headcanon, so I can just escape the horrors of reality. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because it seemed like an interesting project. The reason I watched this in the first place isn't because I'm a Pharrell Williams fan. I honestly know diddly squat about him, but I am, you know what? I'm a Lego fan. Don't know if you can see, there's more Lego over there, but yeah, I have a fetish for Lego, and that's the only reason I was interested in this film. You can see it, right? Yeah, there's like a whole fucking modular. There's like 3 modular sets there, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous sets. So bear in mind, this is a review of someone who doesn't know that much at all about Pharrell Williams, so maybe it'll be interesting for you, or maybe it'll be a complete waste of time.
If you could only imagine what Hans and I got to do musically.
The only things I do know about Pharrell Williams is he made the song Happy, which is this cool pop song that my mum really likes. He collabed with Hans Zimmer on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 soundtrack, which wasn't so good, was it? That was a bit... And he collabed with Daft Punk on Random Access Memory for this really good song, Get Lucky, which everyone knows is one of the biggest songs in the world, probably. I don't know much about his personality other than this one interview I think I saw years ago about The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and in that he did come across kind of a bit up himself. He seemed like he had a bit of an ego to him, like he was sniffing his own farts, yeah, like worshipped the ground he walked on. Honestly, my personal perception of this guy was that he wasn't all that talented of a musician. He wasn't like one of the greats like Snoop Dogg or Kendrick Lamar or so-and-so. However, watching this film, I was given a fairly good education on what this man has contributed to the music scene in the last couple of years, or the last 2 decades, say. I had actually no idea how many very famous songs, like earworm songs, that he'd had a part in, and how many huge people he'd collabed with. And honestly, I've got to say, coming out of that film, this man has a lot more talent than I originally gave him credit for. I kind of just thought he was a cringy dude, really. I get why people like Happy, but it's kind of a bit lightweight, I guess, but I'm not a musician dude. I don't know like the ins and outs of I don't know the objectives of that. Maybe it's like an incredibly written Eleanor Rigby tier song, but I don't know. Obviously, this being a documentary, I'm not too sure on what to be critical of, like what objectives to point out. I guess with this medium, we're looking for something that tells the truth of the story in an authentic and entertaining way. And also another factor, which is the educational value of this, which I can't really judge because, again, I literally knew nothing about him. Yeah, I learned a lot about this guy watching this film, but I'm not sure if this was just the entry-level amount of information on this guy. Like maybe for fans of this guy, they wanted a more in-depth look at his life, and I don't know, I can't tell if this is a deep coverage or not. Deep coverage. A factor that I'm more confident in praising is the animation. The animation is gorgeous and visually engaging all the way through. It's not breaking any new ground that the original Lego movie did, but it's still satisfying to look at. Of course, being a Lego fan, I know a lot about the physics, this is so stupid, the physics of these objects, if that, you know, not to sound ridiculous, but you know, like the little details, like the scratches on the bricks or the cracks in the minifigures, those kind of things. There's a lot of attention to detail there, like you can see all of the imperfections in the plastic. It's really cool. Apparently it's a mix of stop motion and computer generated animation, and none of it really did look that authentic where it looked like it was stop motion. I thought it was like the Lego movie where it was all animated but made to look like it was stop motion, but still I really did enjoy the photorealism of all of the textures and whatnot. not. All in all, he didn't half-arse that side of the production. Like, I know Pharrell Williams was like, you know what, it's all going to be in Lego, and that could have been like a gimmick, but at least they fully committed to that.
You know, it'd be cool is if we told my story with Lego pieces.
Seriously?
So everything on the visual side is perfectly fine, perfectly okay. Now when it comes to my overall experience watching this film, again, it was interesting for me to learn all of these things about the guy, like his life, well not really his life, but more so all of the music that he'd been a part of. It's hard not to enjoy a story about someone who's clearly very talented using his abilities to make good stuff. Getting the opportunities that he did have and flourishing creatively is a satisfying story to watch. However, in the end, this film kind of just serves as a best hits, look at all of these people I collabed with, look how exciting my life was in that way. Aside from his artistic accomplishments and all of these people that he worked with, I didn't really think that this guy's life was all that interesting. It didn't really have any particular profound message to take away from it. It's your fairly ordinary rags to riches story with a few hurdles here and there. If this film hadn't been animated like Lego, I think it would be a fairly forgettable documentary. I didn't regret watching it, I wasn't bored by it, but when it finished I was kind of like, yeah, that was good. Like, it was a light experience. There's nothing about this guy's life that moved me. It was just like, yeah, I made this song and then I made that song, and yeah, I struggled a bit there, but then I made that song and it was all yay, it was all smooth sailing from there, buddy. But when I made the bad songs, that was the greedy, nasty, money-making ad men who made me do that. That wasn't me. It was I was mind controlled by the slimy capitalists. I'm not making any accusations, I'm just saying that's what the film just presents, the instances where he makes shit music as the period in his career where all of these ad men have their claws in him and he's like, oh, it's their fault. So I don't know, it's kind of funny, but whatever. Maybe it was. What kept me intrigued was seeing how many people this guy had collaborated with, people that I actually am a fan of. I love Daft Punk, I'm just recently getting into Kendrick Lamar's stuff and that's all great. I kind of just feel that Pharrell Williams is the guy who collaborated with other musicians, and those musicians are the ones that I want to learn more about. He's a talented musician, but he just isn't on that level where it's like, what's the secret sauce? I want to know your story. What drives this brilliant mind? Again, don't know anything about music, so maybe Pharrell Williams is like lyrical genius, voice of the generation. You know, maybe he's the top dog.
Boss dog.
But for me, he's just kind of like, you're pretty good. Yeah, you're pretty good. Hey, I enjoy Happy from time to time. It's a bit light, but, you know, it's cool. But no, I will give this guy credit. I didn't realise that he was also a big music producer. I didn't realise how many iconic beats he came up with, so fair play to him. And of course, that was the most interesting part of the film for me, just like learning that new information. However, as an overall person, like personality-wise, I didn't find him that interesting. He kind of came across, again, a bit up himself, maybe. It was sort of a puff piece. There was a lot of self-adulation going on. There's a lot of direct quotes from him in this film where he's like, yeah, I'm just an artist. I'm just so like artistically driven. I'm such a maverick. I'm here to change things up. I'm here to disrupt the status quo. Well, you're not, you know, just stuff like that. I'm not exact quotes.
My imagination would run super wild.
I think he is this movie's biggest fan. Like, he thinks this story of his is incredible. Like, oh, this just needs to be seen by everyone. It's just so amazing what I've been through. But to the average person, like to me, to you, it's just kind of, that's kind of cool, man. Any man who must say I am an artist is not a true artist. Maybe it's just I haven't forgiven him for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. Like, I thought, surely no artist would ever make this. Like, surely. But that's definitely this film's biggest weakness, is how much it romanticizes itself as like a Pharrell Williams story. It's mostly just, oh, look how great and lovely things were and how talented I am and like how I just bring music to the people and I just change people. I changed the world and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you did, because you're very influential. I get it, but also it's just a bit all of this like talk of the self.
Like, everybody loves music, but I'm realizing I had a different kind of relationship with it. Literally was mesmerizing to me.
Oh, you don't understand. I had a different relationship with music. It was mesmerizing to me. Like, dude, that's the experience that everyone else has. See, I was different to most of the other kids because I could actually hear and enjoy the music, and they couldn't. They didn't. We're straying off the documentary review now. I'm just talking about his behavior, like the footage I saw of him in this film. Just the way he talks, looks, he does seem like the kind of guy who's surrounded by yes men and can't ever view himself in a light that isn't positive. There's one interval in the film where Pharrell has lost motivation. It's showing that period of his life. And this guy speaking to him and giving him this pep talk and saying, oh, well, think of all of the other people, all of the other hugely influential figures from history, people who changed the world. And at this moment, it purposefully shows clips of Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King, like black figures, big black figures from history, African-American heroes that changed the world. And it's because Pharrell Williams himself is black, but in that moment, it's like, are you comparing yourself to these people just because, like, okay, you're a good musician, but that's just a bit... I don't know if that was what he's going for. But Pharrell Williams to be like, yeah, think of all of the other people who came before me that are just doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. Like, okay, I don't think so. Like Louis Armstrong, definitely in that category. The guy who basically was the foundation of rock and roll. I can't remember what his name was, something Johnson. He's like up there in that echelon. But not Pharrell Williams.
Riveting? That's an understatement.
Yo, like when I made Happy, it was kind of like when Rosa Parks refused to move on the bus. Like something profound happened that day. To be fair, I might just be reading into it. It's literally just 2 snippets of Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King at one point in the movie. So I don't know. You know, I should do that when I reach my next subscribers milestone. I'm like the whitest guy in existence. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like, me getting to 15k subscribers is just like when like Nelson Mandela marched on the whatever. You know what I mean? I might have the complexion of stale milk, but I'm one of you. I'm a brother, and I can say the M word.
Pharrell Williams, everybody! Piece by Piece premieres in theaters this Friday.
But in saying all this, like, Pharrell Williams is still immensely more talented than I ever will be, so there you go. He's lived a very good life, it seems. He's been very productive. He's used his talents for good, and yeah, you can't really, like, you can't knock that, can you? But just don't compare yourself to Muhammad Ali, you fucking idiot.
Who did that? Pharrell.
Another big negative is this film has a lot of dialogue splicing to make sentences that the person didn't originally say in interviews. I'm not saying it's being deceitful, I'm just saying it's paraphrasing what was originally said. The problem with this is it's very obvious when it happens, and it happens very frequently, unfortunately. It's the kind of stuff you hear in trailers where it's like, we decided to go away. I really dug Pharrell's new album when I first met Pharrell in 2015. It was cool learning about the background behind the Kendrick Lamar song Alright. Like, I didn't know that it was such a topical song. Like, I didn't know it was sort of about like the black struggles in America at the time. You do have to understand, like, I am so new to music, relatively speaking. Like, I didn't really even listen to music when I was growing up until like age, I don't know, 15, 14. There'd be a few songs I'd listen to from films, or maybe it'd be Michael Jackson or Imagine Dragons, but that was it. Now I'm just getting into all of these greats, like these modern greats that I should have started listening to a long time ago. As of right now, I don't know any Drake songs, I don't know any Mac DeMarco songs, I just don't, sorry. But music is one of the purest forms of art. Like, most people love movies, but every now and then you get someone who's like not into film, but music connects with just about anybody. But yeah, back to the review. Overall, this is an enjoyable but fairly wishy-washy best hits sort of highlights reel of this guy's life that isn't that interesting, but I respect a lot about him, and I did learn a few new things, so there you go. And it was cool seeing Lego versions of Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and so on. So yeah, now I really want to get my hands on those Daft Punk minifigs. I don't know if they've actually made any real life molds of them, but damn, they looked fucking ace. Like, just some good minifigure design right there. It's Lego, man. Who doesn't like Lego? All of us fucking man children in my generation, that we all just fucking love Lego, and we're like 25 and like, yeah, please Lego, please, I hope my girlfriend buys me some Lego for Christmas. And remember to fucking subscribe. People who saw the Joker 2 review might recognise this guy, yeah. Let's just close things off with a word from our minifigure. Goodbye. Thank you for watching the review. Yeah, whatever. I am Blogon of Zakarthia, and I'm here to vanquish you. What an excellent minifigure. Look at that. Look at that mould. Look at that head mould there. And these little horns are actually pieces. These are like tooth fang pieces from like your average snake set. Look at that armor as well. Oh, just focus, you fucking idiot. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you Mason Lydon. Thank you DF. Thank you Matt Delaney. Thank you Adam Joseph. You guys are awesome and you guys deserve as much Lego as is possible to carry.